Hello. Welcome to the Skeins of Dreams Knitting Podcast. I'm Megha. I'm also known as Skeins of Dreams on Instagram and on Ravelry. And this is the corner of YouTube where I come to share my making, mostly knitting journey with all of you. Thank you so much for checking out my video if you're a new viewer. And as always, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for all your support and love. I really appreciate it. It's been a minute since I recorded my last video. A lot has happened between now and then, and I'm here as always to chatter away, let you know of everything that has been going on in life, talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, and just general chatter about which I as I always talk about. So yeah, welcome and thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hope you're working on something and hope you've grabbed a snack or beverage of choice. And I think we should get started. Yeah, so um, last time I spoke to you, I was gearing up to go for my cousin's wedding, and it was the following weekend. Uh, and then we actually did go to obviously we went to the wedding. We had a really nice time. We met a lot of friends and family, and it was a good weekend. But it left a slightly sour taste in our mouths because we got back and Baljeet and I, Mr. Skeins of Dreams and I, both fell sick. We got COVID and we have been sick for the last 2 weeks. I just about recovered. I still have a lingering cough, but we got really sick. Like we got fever and cold and cough, and of course there's all the fatigue that comes with COVID. Since the pandemic started, we have been very lucky and very careful. We weren't socializing at all. We are homebodies in general, so it was easy for us to just stay home and continue doing what we were doing and not meet a lot of people. And so we were lucky that we were able to avoid falling sick until now, when we just started doing all the things everyone's doing and meeting people. Our luck ran out, and we got COVID. I don't think it was as severe as some of our families contracted back in India, because they, like, we are all vaccinated. We got the booster as well, so we were up to date on that. A lot of our family members got COVID before vaccines were rolled out, but we got all the shots and everything, so we were able to. I think we contracted it. It was less severe for us, but it was still like I was down for 2 weeks proper. Like I couldn't work. I did knit on simple garter stitch. That's what I stuck to, but I was exhausted and I had a lot of cough and cold. I have a sensitive sinus as well, so once I get cough and cold, it stays for a while, and yeah, I was all congested and everything, but now it's all done, gone now, back to almost normal. There's some lingering cough here and there, but nothing too severe. So my plan of recording in 2 weeks was obviously I couldn't keep up with that. But now I'm back, and I have knit quite a lot while I was sick. I did take time off work, but I was just like literally flat on the sofa working on garter stitch here and there. There were a few days where I just could not knit as well. I was sleeping the whole day when I was feeling feverish and everything. And of course we were quarantined, but we didn't do anything around the house. We were just on the couch watching movies and knitting here and there. And I mean, we had to take time off work, and but I started showing symptoms before Baljeet did, so I was home for 2 weeks, even though the second week is when I actually fell sick. Anyway, all that to say, I'm all good now. Back to schedule with the recording, and of course, to give you an update about everything I've been knitting on. Uh, and if you remember, the last time I spoke to you, I was getting up for the wedding, and I also was making a dress to wear during the reception. I was trying to make two outfits, but I realized that I have taken on a bit more than I could manage to finish before the wedding. And I also had hurt my back before the wedding, so a lot has happened in July and August that they weren't really the best of months for me, but um, it's all good. Upwards and onwards. So yeah, so I couldn't finish making two outfits, but I made one outfit and it turned out really nice. I'll put a picture on the screen here. It's the Upton dress by Cashmerette Patterns. Um, and I made it in a viscose jacquard I got from Mood Fabrics in the US. It was on sale. It was like less than $10 a yard, which for my size and for like a full length gown that I wanted to make, it turned out to be pretty like reasonable. And I had a it was my first properly viscose garment. Like I had practiced viscose sewing before, but it was the final dress was like the properly doing viscose. I had some issues, but mostly it was good. I had practiced the pattern multiple times because I made the dress I think at least two times before with other fabrics with cotton so that I could practice the pattern. And I made the skirt portion like three, four times before because I made the skirt separately. So I had good practice on the pattern and everything. And anyway, long story short, I finished the dress and I wore it and it was pretty spectacular. I'm very happy with it. But since then, I've not done any sewing. I'm taking a short break because I overdid with the sewing, getting up for the wedding. But now I'm taking a break, so I'm mostly knitting, and it's been good. I want to go get back into quilting as well because I have a few quilts that I want to finish and gift and everything, and also some quilts that I was planning for us and for the house, and I really want to finish that as well. So anyway, that's all the sewing chatter. Um, let's get into the knitting. So I have two finished objects. One is a massive finished object, and one is this top that I'm wearing. So this is a simple striped tee that I was working on. I have alternated fingering weight and mohair. The fingering weight yarn is Emma's yarn, Practically Perfect sock yarn, and the colorway is called Plant Lady. And the mohair is spun right round mohair, silk mohair in the colorway Buggy. So I was just doing my own thing using a book on top-down sweaters that I have. So I knew what the finished garment size needed to be, and I wanted to try experiment with the combination yoke. So I did yoke increases for the top, but when I got into the sleeve separation, I did raglan increases in the end. I find that it usually fits me the best. I can still see some slight puckering even though I've blocked this top. I feel like it's not that much. It's mostly, so what happened along with my math calculations is my gauge for the fingering weight yarn is different from my mohair gauge. And in the beginning it wasn't so. Like here it was all fine. And then as I started knitting on it, like a little more, the gauge started changing when I relaxed and everything. So that said, I'm very happy with how the top has turned out. It's only like short sleeves and everything. It's very lightweight. I can wear it, but I can wear it in the summer as well. It's super lightweight, but I think humidity is not the best weather to wear it. Like I think the mohair still kind of feels little weird and sweaty if it's humid, but if it's just dry heat and like breezy and everything, I think I can still wear it in the summer. Today I'm able to wear it, but I have the fan on and the air conditioning is on in the house as well, but I really wanted to wear it for the podcast, so I thought I'd just put it on. And Yeah, so that is my striped tee. I'll put a picture of me wearing it, or maybe hold on, maybe I can just stand at the back of the chair and give you a peek. Hold on. So I can show it to you like this. So that's how the top looks. Yeah, it. I like the length. It fits me well, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Okay, that was easy enough to do, and I shut the door. I don't know if there was a lot of background noise. Um, yeah, so that is the simple striped tee that I was working on. I am planning more of this fingering mohair striping thing. I really liked it, and I want to do one in like the same colorway. Like this one, I don't know. I was really I was seeing this pink and green combination like just about everywhere, and I absolutely had to make a garment in it. I'm pretty pleased with this. It will be a nice layering top. In the fall, I can layer it on my dresses or something. I want to make a dress that is like either a beige or a rosy blush pink or something. So I think I'm gonna make a dress in that color, and it'll go with a lot of other knits that I have, and I think that'll be perfect for this tea. So so yeah, that is my finished top. And then there's no pattern, like I was mentioning. I just made up the recipe. It worked really well. I'm happy with it. I think if the gauge difference was not there, it might lay better, but all in all, I'm pretty pleased with it. um, the next finished object. So, just short backstory. When I was sick, I was not able to knit on anything that needed any utilization of my brain. Like, it was just impossible for me to focus on um, patterns and instructions and everything. So I turned to my very cozy, very comforting garter project. So wait for it. I have finished my half and half triangles wrap. And I just realized I didn't cut any of the threads in it. Like I wove in the ends, but I blocked it, and then I don't cut the threads until I finish blocking, so that whatever if they might get stretched a little, and then I cut the ends, and I didn't do that. Oh well, you're all knitters. You will forgive me for that. um, so yeah, so this is my massive half and half triangles wrap. It's already been used. We've been using it on the couch because I never intended this to be a shawl. Honestly, I do not think I will wear a shawl this huge, but I really like having lap blankets and just something to wrap yourself in around the house, especially as winter approaches. I get very cold extremities, like my hands are always cold and my feet are always cold. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be my friend, like my companion. Oh, it's massive, and I don't even know how people show this to you. I know. All right, let me do what they do in the pattern pictures. So this is the shawl version, I guess. It's massive, like it's gigantic. It's really, really huge. Oops. Yep. So that's not really. I'm not gonna wear this as a shawl. Absolutely not. But it is my very cozy lap blanket. And this yarn blocked out really nice. Like, I love how it feels after blocking. Um, I made this in the yarn that was suggested, linen quill from Pearl Soho. The purple is called Purple Smoke. Um, and I think this is pretty good representation of what the color is. I think it's showing up right on the screen. And this is Red Poppy. I love how vibrant it is. It's very, very pretty. I love this color. And this combination actually reminds me of Indian saris. So I think I've seen saris which are like this nice purple with like bright red border, and it always reminds me of of one of those saris. But that's how I kind of like, when I saw the colors together, I wanted a cool tone, and I wanted a very pop, like a bright poppy color as the second color. I think it has worked really well. I made the larger size, like whatever the bigger size was. I think 260 stitches cast on. I actually cast on the red poppy, and then I did an I-cord edge on this. So you'll only get two I-cord edges if you do the slipping of stitches on the edge stitches. If you want, you can do an I-cord edge on the cast on and on the bind off edge, but it doesn't really bother me. I didn't do so. Two edges are just the regular bind cast on and bind off, and the other two edges are I-cord edges. um, it is absolutely lovely. It is everything it promised it would be. Super cozy, super drapey. I love the yarn. I love knitting on it. It took me 6 months and 4 days, and not saying that I knit on it consistently throughout. There were gaps in between, like 3 or 4 weeks, when I just didn't pick up the project. And I had actually started another garter project, a shawl project that I'm going to show as well. And while I was knitting on it, I thought, if I'm just gonna knit garter, might as well knit on this and actually finish it. And I'm so happy I did, because I have never actually worked on a project consistently for months at an end. I end up giving up, or it goes into my unfinished objects corner or whatever. But this one, I kept at it, and I think the yarn and just the simplicity, I thought I'd get bored, but I really didn't get bored. It was a lot of fun to knit. Um, I don't think I'm gonna cast on another one of these right away, as a lot of people have done. I think I'm gonna work on other blanket and throw projects. As I was saying, I think I'm gonna knit on other blanket projects now, but I'm really happy I made this. I'm super, super pleased with it. It looks really pretty. I love it. um, Super drapey, super large, like it's massive. Can cover one person on the couch, no problem. I blocked it, but I didn't pin block it. I just did the regular soaking, squeezing out the water, and then I just lay it on my drying rack in whatever shape and form. It didn't bother me. I thought it's gonna be used as a lap blanket. I'm gonna wash it other times, and it'll go it. I know the shape will get distorted a little, but I'm not too. I don't need it to be a perfect square. It's fine. It is what it is. I love it as it is, and it's a really nice companion. And so yeah, my half and half wrap is done, and I'm so, so happy about it. All right, so those were all my finished objects, and there is some fiber in my face, of course. Yep, let's move on to the works in progress. So I have a few projects you've already seen before, and I've made some progress on them here and there, but I have not knit on them as much as I wanted to. So the first one is the Gaja Cardigan test knit. The Gaja Cardigan has been released. I have been a terrible test knitter, and I have not finished it. Um, I let Agatha know, and I'm going to buy a pattern from her, and like buy this pattern from her, pay for the pattern basically, because I couldn't finish it. I really don't have an excuse. I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. Um, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I have 3 test knits going on. I think I'm gonna take a break from test knitting for a while. I just don't feel like. I feel like, yes, the deadline motivates me to finish the project, but it just happens that I get super distracted. I want to work on something totally different. So I should, every time I feel like signing up for a test knit, I should think a little about the future me who might want to work on something totally different. And the test knit is not always what I want to knit on right now. And it has happened before that, and that's why this year I signed up for way less test knits than I did last year. But I think I need to just completely stop or do once in a while and not overlap them. What happens is I'm good until a certain time, and then I sign up for one, and then because I did one successfully, I'm like, I can do another one, and then it just becomes a whole lot of stress. And the moment you say that this is what you should be working on, some reason my brain just wants to do the opposite. So I feel like I should just quit. That being said, the other two that I'm working on, I am going to finish them on deadline. I cannot have this happen on more than one test knit this year. That's not gonna fly with me. So I'm controlling my cast-ons until I finish the ones. And even this one I'm gonna finish. It's just that Agatha didn't have a deadline for it. And then she said, "Oh, I'm gonna wait till everyone else finishes it." And then everyone finished it except me. And then she obviously she can't wait forever. So she decided to publish it, and it's beautiful. I highly recommend the pattern. The pattern is absolutely beautiful. It's just that I have no excuse for this behavior, but it's what it is. So this is the sleeve detail on this cardigan. I have shown it to you before. I finished one sleeve. Um, the the lace pattern, it actually, so you cast on this lace panel which goes on the shoulders, and then you pick up stitches on both edges, one for the front and one for the back. And you basically knit these two lace panels first, pick up stitches, cast on stitches, work the back, and then you do the same thing for the front. And I'm doing the cardigan, so it has some shaping in the front. It comes as a you increase stitches for the neckline, and then you go straight down. A lot of people knit the pullover. I almost feel like I should have knit the pullover so that I could just like knit in a in the round. I don't have problem with purling, but I don't know why. I just, my hand hurt quite a bit on this one. It's a pretty tight gauge, and the sleeves are actually to match Agatha's gauge. I had to knit the sleeves on US 1.5, which is almost like sock knitting. Thankfully, the sleeve is only 3/4, so I didn't have to knit all that much. But yeah, it definitely hurt my hand to knit that tiny. I'm a continental knitter, and I feel like that makes my gauge to be a bit looser than if you're a English like thrower and everything. And I have to go down a lot of needle sizes to get the right gauge. And it had, and it's weird. Sometimes I feel like it has corrected itself, but then other times I have to change three, four needle. I have to go down 3 or 4 needle sizes, and I it just becomes a whole thing. Anyway, I'm super super excited about this pattern. I am going to finish it. This color is beautiful. I'm knitting it with Camellia Fiber Company Merino Sport, and this is the color Dahlia. And I showed it to you in the last episode, but since then I have finished the sleeve and I'm knitting away on the body now. I wanted to make sure because I have to do some yarn management, so I knit one sleeve to find out how much yarn I need for it. So then the rest of the yarn I'm going to use up to do the body, and then I'm gonna knit the second sleeve after that. I'm gonna give my hands a little break from the big sock for the hand knitting. But yeah, the pattern is out. I highly recommend it. It is beautiful. It looks wonderful on all the testers. I just really loved everybody's versions, and yep. So that is the Gaia cardigan and also the Gaia pullover. I think both the versions have been released together. And yeah, so that is one of my works in progress. And then I have two more test knits. So the second one, a lot of you actually really liked this one as well, is the Forest Finds by Jennifer Parocchini, who is JP Knits Things on Instagram and on Ravelry. And I had showed you that I worked on, it's worked in panels. So I had done this front panel, and I had done there are panels for the side as well, so I had done the right side. So this is another panel which has armhole shaping. Is this the, yes, so this will come up here. um, it has, you knit the oh, I'm holding it wrong. So you knit the thing with the lining, like you knit the pocket with the lining, so the pocket has all this beautiful texture. I hope you can see it. It has this beautiful texture. So I finished, so it looks really weird, like bits and pieces. I can't really show you the whole garment, but I finished all the front pieces. So now I'm just supposed to um join them, and the way you join them is you pick up stitches along the edges and then you 3 needle bind off to match the panel. So I finished, there are 4 panels for the front, 3 for the back, and 2 sleeves, and everything is knit flat, and then you pick up stitches and you do 3 needle bind off. So now I'm supposed to steam these pieces and actually join them together. But as I said, this pattern is super wordy just because of the way it has been written. And before I went for the wedding, I finished the other panel for the front, but then 2 weeks after the wedding, I did not knit on it, to be honest, because it's a very wordy pattern. You have to read, and the charts need to be followed, and um, I just was not in the mind, like brains, I didn't have the brain space for it. Like I have now, this morning I actually cast on, because now I finally feel better, so I actually cast on for the back center panel, and this one you need to follow the chart and everything. So now I'm gonna knit on the back. The deadline for this is end of September, so I think I have some time. I can definitely knit on this and finish it. And it's a DK weight sweater, so it works up really quickly. It's just that I have to follow the instructions and the chart, and it is not just stockinette, because there's a lot of texture, so I was not able to knit on it much while being sick. So now I'm back on it, and yep, I did make some progress from the last time, so I just wanted to quickly touch base. If you want to, oh, the yarn is by Primrose Yarn Company. It's on their Rowan DK base, and the color is Zodiac. If you want to like listen to a little more about this project, I talk about it in my last episode as well. And there I show you all the pieces, and I'm kind of holding it up against me to show you how it's knit up. But yeah, that is my Forest Finds sweater, and I'm holding it in this beautiful sweater bag by Susan, who is Delightful Works on Etsy. Susan had reached out to me, let me know she makes project bags, and she had donated a project bag for a giveaway, and then she gave me one. And then I realized that I'm running out of project bags, so I just decided I'd treat myself to a big sweater bag, and so I got one from her store. But yeah, so that is my Forest Find sweater, and that was the progress on it. My next beautiful test knit is for Rebecca, who is the Crea Bea podcast, who has the Crea Bea podcast, and of course she has now started designing and is coming up with the most gorgeous sweaters, beautiful color work stuff that she's doing now as we speak, I think. And then she has a cardigan that she is going to release, as I mean, going to finish writing and then do a test knit for and everything. I think the cardigan will come next, and then the colorwork sweater. Anyway, she's coming up with beautiful designs, and her first design is the Cargill sweater. everybody is knitting it, and a lot of people have actually like close to finished it. I, on the other hand, am at sleeve separation. I showed it to you the last time. It's going beautifully. I absolutely love this texture. Um, Again, I knit on it a little bit during the time I was not feeling too well, but I wasn't able to knit on it too much. I am at sleeve separation, so I think whenever I come to these things where I'm supposed to like do stuff other than knitting, it takes me a couple of days to get to it. I'm gonna get to it. I would say that the dip stitch, while it's super beautiful, it does hurt my hand just a little bit. So I work on it a few rows at a time, but it is gorgeous. And this deadline is also end of September, so I'm kind of like working on this and then working on the other test knit, switching between them, and then I feel like sometimes, okay, I don't wanna work on these things, and then I go to like a garter project. That's whenever I don't feel like working between on either of them, I work on a garter project. That's what I've been doing, at least this week, these few days, I would say. Before that, I was just working on the half and half wrap whenever I could, but there have been a few days I just didn't knit. I just wasn't in the I couldn't knit much. That being said, my next work in progress is I finished a lot. The first 3 days when we came back from the wedding, Baljit had tested positive for COVID, and I have was showing symptoms, but I had not really fallen sick properly. I thought that was the worst. I didn't know what was coming next, so I thought that is the worst. But I wasn't going to work, and I took a couple of sick days because I was not feel. I knew he had COVID, so if I went to work, I'm sure I would spread it at work. So I stayed home, and then I thought, oh, I'm actually sick. So I took a couple of sick days, but I had enough energy to knit, and I decided to cast on a new project, of course. Now, sorry for the crinkling, I've put it in a plastic bag. Um, I'm actually going to the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival in October, and I'm super excited about it. It's the 1st and 2nd of October in Tunbridge, Vermont, and it's a 10-hour drive from here, from where I live in Pittsburgh. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a day off, drive up to Vermont. I've always wanted to go to Vermont, and going for a knitting festival is perfect. Like that's the best way of visiting the area, I think. I was thinking hard about whether I wanted to do Rhinebeck again this year. That is the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, but a couple of friends of mine, and you're gonna find out who these friends are when I talk more about the Sheep and Wool Festival, but I'm not gonna give anything away right now. But a couple of friends, we decided to meet up, and we booked an Airbnb, and we're going to go to this new knitting festival, and I got really excited about that. I want to visit different knitting festivals. If I didn't have any other plans this year, I might have gone back to New York Sheep and Wool, but because this plan materialized, so I'm not gonna go to New York Sheep and Wool this year. I'm just gonna do the Vermont Festival, and yeah, I'm super excited about it. I really wanted to go see a different festival, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, so now that I have to go to this festival, I want to knit something specifically for it. Now it's going to be the 1st and 2nd of October, so it's not like super winter time. So I decided I want to still continue with summer knits. I might end up wearing something completely different. One of the things I might end up wearing is this Gaia cardigan that I just spoke about, because it's a fingering weight cardigan. It'll be perfect over a dress. I want to sew a dress so that I'm wearing handmade items for the festival. So I think I'm gonna wear the Gaia cardigan, and I did still want to um, work on something specifically for the festival. So I cast on another garment. I'm gonna pause here so I take it out of the crinkly bag. Sorry. So my project is out of the bag, And this pattern was released a few months ago, and since it's come out, it has been in my queue, and I really wanted to make it. So I'm working on the Grapefruit Pink Lady by Thea Coleman. It's a very, very beautiful all over lace vest kind of a thing. I'm making it in, it's made in wool, like it's made in, I think it's made in a magpie fiber nest worsted or something like that. I'm making it in sandness garn liner in this beautiful terracotta colorway. I think the colorway number is 4234. Is that right? Yeah, I think the colorway is 4234, and it is this sadness gone leaner, and it is a blend of um, 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. So it's definitely a super summery yarn. And a lot of people, it's like very popular in the US. I bought it at this store. I think it's based in New York. The store is called Mother Knitter, and they have a lot of sandness garn yarns. And I know it's easily available in the Europe and everything, but in the US you have to like know where to buy it. But yeah, so this is the Grapefruit Pink Lady. It's I think the stitch gauge is like, is it like 20 stitches? And I'm actually knitting only the third size. Usually I knit like in a proper size ranged pattern. I knit the fourth or the fifth size, but I I went down a needle size and I still got a larger gauge. So I'm just knitting the third size instead of knitting the size that I should have or would be right for my size. But so I because I have a larger gauge, I'm just knitting a smaller size. But anyway, I finished the body and I'm actually shaping. So I'm shaping the shoulder, and then I still have to do the back. This is the front shoulder that I did. I still have to do the back, and then it doesn't have any sleeves, so you do the front, you knit up until the armhole, and then you do like the right front shoulder, left front shoulder, and then you do the back as well. And then you I think you seam the shoulders, but I'm going to do a 3 needle bind off, so I'm leaving the stitches live, and then I'll do 3 needle bind off, and then you have to pick up around the sleeve, like the armhole and the neckline to do the ribbing. So it's like a vest, and I really love this color. I'm super happy with how it looks, and I can't wait to actually finish it and block it because the lace will look even better after I block it. But yeah, so that is a new cast on that I have, and for some reason I got really interested in it, and I knitted for 3 days straight, and this is how much I've actually knit in 3 days. That being said, it's larger gauge. I think it's like my gauge is like close to 16 or 18 stitches in 4 inches, so it wasn't all that much, and it's not supposed to be super long. It's supposed to hit you right at, not your natural waist, but a little lower than that, so that I also wanted it like that so that I can layer it on dresses or wear it with skirts and everything, not just with jeans. So it wasn't all that much knitting, but I got done really quickly. But now I've stalled because I have gone back to my test knits, and because I know I can finish it in like 2-3 days, and I don't. I mean, I have to go to the festival in October, so given granted it's the 1st of October, but I have time. I'm gonna finish it. I'm sure by the next time we record, I next time I record, I'm gonna have. I don't know why I can't talk today, but the next time I record, I would have finished it. So, yep. So that is the grapefruit pink lady. I feel like I'm super all over the place today. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I recorded, and I don't know. I'm just all over the place. Very scatterbrained today. But yeah. I think that was everything, but I have just another project. You have seen this before, and I have made very little progress on it. But as soon as I finished the half and half triangles wrap, I wanted to cast on immediately a new lap blanket But then I was thinking about it and I was like, should I really cast on something new? I want to at least finish one of my test knits before I cast on something new, given that I've already done that grapefruit pink lady thing. So I decided I'm just gonna take out an existing garter project, because sometimes in the evening when we turn off the lights and we're watching a movie, I want to knit garter so that I don't have to look at my knitting, and I can't really, like, knit on anything else. So at that time, I was hoping I was not in the middle of a row, but unfortunately, as usual, I am. So I've resumed knitting my Garter Goodness. This is a shawl by Stephen West, and I am knitting it in the Wandering Flock singles yarn. And I've finished the first color, and then I was striping in the second color, and now I've finished striping. So the first skein is done, and I'm on the second skein, and I'm working on, it's just a simple garter stitch, knit back and forth, just knitting. And this is the second color. It's called Icy Lavender. And I've shown these colors before. So hold on. After the Icy Lavender is this mauve. And then there is this celosia pink. And then it's gonna end in this beautiful neon pink, and all my cakes are falling apart because this yarn is just so soft. It is so hard to keep shape in the cake, like it's just falling off of itself. So yeah, very quickly, that is the Garter Goodness shawl. I am participating in the Across the Ponds, sorry, I cannot speak today, Across the Pond Shawl Cal 2022, hosted by Ruth of the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast and Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me. And they did this last year and they're doing it again this year. So I had cast on this shawl as my entry for it. There is no way I'm going to finish it because I think the cal is only for 2 months and we're already halfway through. So I think there's only 1 month left. But, um, just to support them and just in the spirit of things, I cast on for this shawl cal, and it also will be an entry in my Blankets of Dreams make along, because I said any large shawl is doable, and this is 5 skein shawl, so I think it's a blanket. It's a schlanket, if nothing else. So I don't know if I'm going to actually wrap it around myself or use it as a lap blanket on the couch. But yeah, that's what I made a little more progress on. I'm just holding it in this muslin bag that the yarn came in, but it's perfect. It holds all the 5 skeins and my project. So that is the Garter Goodness. Did I mention it's by Stephen West? Everybody knows about the Garter Goodness now. I don't have to talk about it. So yeah, so that was everything that I've knit on in the last few weeks. I do have some future plans, especially since I finished a lap blanket. I need to make another one, and I am trying to decide what I want to make. So, um, one of the things is I Stephen West came out with this jigsaw puzzle shawl. It's made by scrap yarn. It's like his Vertices Unite shawl. Like you just make different sections in different colors, and he's made a jigsaw puzzle kind of a thing. So you start with one section and you just like keep picking up stitches and adding on to it and make other sections and everything. So he made a huge blanket out of it. It is beautiful. I mean, it is as beautiful as your color choices. So his version looks really unique because he always uses these neon bright pops of colors, but the idea is to use your scraps. So I have a basket of scraps that of course I can use and make that make that blanket out of. The other option I'm thinking is to use my scraps and make a simple granny stripe crochet project, because one of the things I do want to do this year is actually make a crochet blanket or a throw to use on the couch. So that's one of the options that I'm thinking, like a simple granny stripe blanket. I don't want to. When I do crochet projects, I don't do like complicated stuff. I do really simple things that I don't have to think about, and I can only simple crochet. Like I can't do a lot of pattern following and things like that. I mean, I have made a granny square blanket and things like that, but it needs to be simple enough for me to memorize, and then I'm just like crocheting it and everything. So that is another option. Then Stephen West also has this beautiful Parallelolamb. It's called. I'll put a picture of it on the screen here. It's a beautiful modular kind of a knit, like you knit it in section and you keep adding it. It almost looks like what's it called, a log cabin quilt. So it's kind of inspired like of from that, but it's all knitted. And I have a very gorgeous color palette that I over the last year have been collecting more linen quill, the same yarn that the half and half triangle strap has been made out of. Like every time Pulso has a sale, I buy like a couple of skeins here and there, and now I have enough to make another blanket. But I'm just thinking that I just finished working with linen quill. Do I really want to start another linen quill project? Given that the yarn is absolutely amazing, but maybe I want to work on something else. But anyway, I'll put a picture of the color scheme I have in mind. It's mustards and pinks. Just one mustard, but like all different shades of pink. I think it'll be a really pretty blanket. So that is an option. Then I have always wanted to knit the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. It was one of the, I think it was a pattern she released maybe for like during the holiday calendar, like Advent season. I don't remember. It's been a few years, I think. But I really love how that looks. And there are multiple options in that. I can either use my scraps for it, or I have this really gorgeous rainbow fade that I bought last year. I think Webs, which is like a really big yarn store in the US, their website is literally yarn.com. So Webs had a sale, and I think it was during Pride month, and they were selling this huge fade. Like it's like 2,500 yards of fingering weight rainbow colored yarn. I'll put a picture on the screen. I can show the yarn, but it's like in a plastic bag, and I don't want to disturb the sequence. So it's sitting there, and I'm just gonna let it sit there. So yeah, so I have that beautiful fade that I want to knit. I thought I bought it thinking I'm gonna do a habitation throw, but the thing is the yarn is so precious. If I make a habitation throw out of it, I'm not gonna let anyone use it because it's so beautiful and it's fingering weight, very delicate yarn. So I'm trying to think if I can make it a project that is just going to be a shawl for me because I'm not going to be rough with it. If it's going to be a throw and it's going to go on the couch, I can't tell what the cats are going to do, what Mr. Skeins of Dreams is going to do. I'm not prepared for that. That yarn is too precious, too pretty to be just used as a throw by anybody else. Maybe I need to put a tag on it. This is for Megha only, but I know that's not gonna fly. So I'm trying to rethink if I want to use that yarn for a habitation through, but I want to keep all the yarn together and I don't want to be left with scraps of it. I want to use up in one continuous project so that it can do its fade. And I think it has to be a blanket or a shawl of some kind. And it's 2,500 yards. So I don't know if I want to wear a shawl that is 2,500 yards. Maybe I just want to knit it into a blanket and deal with it if it gets used up roughly. I don't know. I just said a lot of things because I'm confused about it. So yeah, so one of the things is to make the habitation throw in scraps or to use this gorgeous rainbow fade that I have. And then there was another option. Oh no, I was going to talk about it and then I forgot. Anyway, so these are the blanket projects that might happen in the next few weeks. Not immediately because I need to finish some test knits that are going on, but I need another long-term background project. Of course, I have the Garter Goodness, but I think I need another blanket project, not a shawl blanket project. I do have some other whips. They're now whips. I had cast them on earlier this year that I could pick up again, but I don't think the weather has become warm enough to knit with Aran weight yarn. What? The weather is not cool enough to knit with iron weight yarn. I'm really sorry. My brain is doing its own thing. The connection between the tongue and the brain is lost. It's gone. Yeah, so it's not cool enough to knit with iron weight. So I'm still thinking of fingering weight blanket projects. So those are the things that I might want to cast on, and I'm trying to decide which one is the best right now for me. I'm really sorry. I totally out of it. I don't know what I'm talking. I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind. Anyway, so that was everything that I've been thinking about. I do have some garment plans as well. I want to knit from some of the books that I have. I was showing the Contrasts book by Mayu in the last one in the previous before or in the episode before that, and she has this very beautiful mohair and fingering weight Dreamy Road sweater that she knit, and she was wearing in an interview episode by Anina, who has the Annie Knits podcast. And I saw that sweater on the interview and I was like, I need it. So I actually, for my birthday, August is my birthday month, so I gifted myself very precious, beautiful yarn to knit the Dreamy Road sweater. So that is going to be one of my fall cast-ons. And then I think I have some Newton. So a project in Newton is going to happen soon. I'm thinking it's going to be the Big Love Cardigan by Anka Strick. Is that how you say her name? Or the designer's handle? Anka Strick? I think. Yes. While I'm talking about all these million, I'm just throwing out these ideas. I plan like I have a I have 10 hands or something that I'm gonna knit all these things so easily. It's gonna be these plans, if I actually do them, they're years worth of knitting. But anyway, so yeah, so the Big Love Cardigan is gonna happen soon in my Newton. Um, the Dreamy Road is gonna happen soon, and of course, I want to knit the Salty Air Tea. That is another top that I want to knit, and I have some yarn which I've been kind of hoarding because it's very precious. I'm like saving it for the big wonderful project and all that, but I was watching Yana from Ketu Knits podcast, and Finish Knitting Stories is her podcast. She's Ketu Knits on Instagram, and she was saying something like, you know, all your beautiful precious yarn, just knit with it. Like knit it now. Don't hold on to it for the perfect project. So I think I'm gonna do that. I have been postponing casting on the saltier tea because I want to knit it in the perfect yarn, but I think I should just knit with the yarn I have. I couldn't decide what yarn to knit it with, and I should just go ahead and knit it. And yeah, so I also have some yarn heading my way from Denmark. My dear friend Camilla of the Cami June Knit podcast is sending some my way because I'm doing. I said no more test knits, but I did already promise Camilla I'm gonna knit. No, I mean I promised her as in I love that cardigan that it's I think it's called the Mega Diamond cardigan, or I don't know if she's finalized the name on it, but it's an all over lace cardigan knit in mohair and merino yarn. So it's like mega mohair base that she sells, dyes and sells, and she dyed a special colorway for me, which is actually close to the color of the wall behind me. But yeah, so she dyed maybe it's between the wall and the plant. I don't know. She dyed this beautiful, gorgeous yarn for me, and I'm gonna knit that lacy cardigan that she's already started the test knit on. Is She knows that I'm not gonna receive the yarn. It takes a month for her yarn to arrive. For some reason, I don't know what happened. I order from Holst. I have ordered from Holst in the past, and it has not taken that long, but for some reason when she sends me on, it takes a good month for it to get here. Anyway, a lot of people did ask me what those cones of yarn are from, what those cones of yarn are, and they are Holstgarn Super Soft. I have a lot of cones of that. I have not bought that yarn in a while though, because I have a lot of colors. That blue is actually, I want to knit a sweater for Mr. Skeins of Dreams in that blue, and that pink is going to be a Peerie Leaves sweater by Donna Smith to be the Peerie Leaves jumper, and I have to swatch and cast on soon for that as well. I just looked at the yarn and I remembered a lot of knitting is in my future, if you didn't know already. I plan like there's no there is nothing holding me back. I'm knitting 24 hours a day. I'm not knitting 24 hours a day, and it takes me a while to get through these projects, but I love to plan. I'm a planner. So I very quickly rambled on about everything that I want to make that's on my mind right now. Um, Thank you so much for sticking around and watching me ramble on like this about my knitting. And yeah, I've been thinking a little about the podcast in general and what my intentions were when I first started the podcast, and whether I have achieved those, and what I want for the podcast in the future. I've been thinking a little about my intentions around that because um, let's be honest, when there are a lot of knitting podcasts available on YouTube and everybody comes and talks about their projects, and it's wonderful to listen to that. And I have made so many friends who are also podcasters, and I love watching their videos. But now that I make my own videos, sometimes it happens that I'm watching someone's video and I'm not present in the moment listening to them talk about their knitting, but it sometimes it becomes like I'm comparing my videos to theirs, what I could do better. Oh, how can I get a few more people to follow me or something like that? And every time I do that, I just try to consciously stop myself and ask myself if that's why I started the podcast. Like, is I don't want to do that. I don't want to compare myself with people. I want to watch my friends talk about their knitting because I love it, not because I want to be like, this amazing new YouTube podcaster. That's not the intention that I had when I started the podcast. So sometimes it takes me a while to record because I don't want to like force myself to do it, just because if I stick to a 2 week schedule, YouTube is going to reward me. It's going to show my video to more people. And I purposely let it slip because I'm trying. It's naturally human to compare yourself with everybody else who's doing that and see what the metrics are. But then I'm consciously trying to stop myself from doing that, and then tell myself that this is not the reason I started the podcast. I love to talk about knitting, and YouTube just gave me a channel to do that, and I wanted to build a community, and I have made so many friends, and I've actually achieved what I started this channel for. So sometimes I wonder what I want for it in the future. Do I just want to come here and talk about my knitting once in a while and just have fun? Or do I want something more for it? And so that's like a constant thing going on in my head lately. And I was talking to Biljit about it as well yesterday. So he's like, if you just want to stop for a while, stop for a while. Don't do it because you're in a race. It's not a competition. It's just about, we're all passionate about knitting, and this gives us an opportunity to kind of talk about it and like share it with everyone who also is passionate about it. So yeah. So just some things on my mind, some things I'm thinking about. Not saying that I'm gonna quit podcasting anytime soon, but just like how frequently I do it, what I want to do it for. Um, I'm just thinking out loud. Thank you so much if you listen to this bit as well. I would love to know what you think. I know a lot of you will be like, don't stop recording, and you love to watch me just talk about my knitting. Um, and thank you so much. I know who all of you are, and I really, really appreciate you. Um, but yeah, it's been it's in September. It's gonna be a year since I've been doing this, and I was just thinking back to myself. What was the reason I started doing this, and what do I want for the channel in the future? It's not gonna be stream of income for me, never. I have a full-time job, and I'm gonna keep this as a hobby. I really want to keep it as a hobby, because the moment it starts becoming something else than a hobby for me, my brain just perceives it in a different way. It becomes a chore then. I just want to do the knitting because I love the knitting, not because I want to make money off of it. That's definitely not why I'm here. So so yeah, just some things that have been on my mind, and of course I talked about all the knitting things that have been on my mind. And thank you so much for watching. This has been a really weird episode. I'm sure I've been all over the place, but with me, as always, you uh, see what you get what you see. So I think I've rambled enough. I need to go edit this video now. I don't like listening to myself talk all over again, but I'm gonna do that as quickly as possible so I can upload this video and you all can see it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you have stuck with me until the very end into my rambly part. Thank you so much for all the love, and stay safe, take care, and happy crafting.